Before watching, I knew nothing about Starkid aside from a kill count Dead Meat release covering one of their musicals. I had the Prudes on my watch list for quite a while, but never got around to watching it until now, and holy hell, I am glad I did. Prudes Must Die is a teen slasher comedy musical by Team Starkid where a group of nerdy high schoolers accidentally unleash a powerful angry spirit with a grudge against nerds after completing an ancient evil ritual, and now must set out to right their wrongs before every nerd in Hatchetfield is killed. This is a premise I thought wouldn't work, but somehow they managed to do so by writing compelling characters, a devoted cast, as well as having a banger soundtrack. It also seems to be a more thought-provoking musical in their catalog, with most of the conversations surrounding the main villain, Max Jaggerman. Will Branner is absolutely the star of the show as Max. He's so over the top with his line delivery and does so well as the pompous bully, but also gives him a little bit, like a sprinkle of sincerity, so he's not a full-blown psychopath.
Oh, well there's a difference between intent and impact. I learned that at the anti-bullying assembly last month. Fuck nuggets!
And I actually love how different of a villain Max is. As a human, he's the stereotypical jock that bullies anyone around him and doesn't care about the consequences, mostly because he knows no one will step up against him. The way he's introduced is really great, and Literal Monster is such a perfect way to both show and tell the audience exactly how Max is towards the nerds.
He's got the hallway unlocked, his fists are always half-cocked, he's got me hiding in my locker. It's best to drop and play dead, place your hands on your neck, call the feds, lock the thread, he's straight ahead.
He's a dick that should be unlikable, but Will plays him so well and fully commits to the absurdity of his character that it comes off as more charming.
Oh fuck! I didn't think there'd be a skeleton here! I'm so fucking scared of skeletons! Maybe I should just run! Where, Max? Back home so Dad can call you a little cuck? Can't even fight off one lousy skeleton?
That isn't to say there aren't moments that make me hate Max. I thought the scene where he beats up Peter was the evilest thing he did up to that point and perfectly displayed his god complex. And it gets to a point that when he does die, it's shocking, and the way he performs his last words as a mortal is spine-chilling.
I'm gonna kill you all! Nerdy! Prudes must pay! Nerdy! Prudes must die!
And as an undead spirit, Max becomes more sinister while still maintaining the douchiness that makes him likable.
Oh, where are you going, Ruth? I want to cast you as my leading lady. She's got quite a death scene.
I absolutely love this shift in his character, and I like that the show doesn't really harp on the fact that he's bloodthirsty after coming back as a ghost. Will is also just phenomenal as a singer. I love the Will You Pray For Me bit in Prudes Must Die. It's actually quite scary how intimidating he is in the song. But that one bit is extra scary because it perfectly showcases his control in Richie's demise. But I'll touch on that more in the music section of the review. Joey Richter, who I mainly knew as Officer P from Jesse, and Mariah Rose Faith are really good as Peter Spangovsky and Stephanie Lauder. Peter is a really good subversion of the nerd-to-hero trope that's usually in these types of stories. And Joey does a really good job with the emotional aspect of the character. I like his ballad about wanting to be cool but knowing he can't because he's a nerd. The reprise really tugs at the heartstring. And Stephanie is a really great cool girl character that has a great romance with Peter. I absolutely adore If I Loved You. It's such a great Will They Won't They song that is interrupted greatly by Grace Chastity.
Leave room for Jesus!
Speaking of, she's definitely the second best character for me, as Angela Giarratana, I'm so sorry if I butchered that, gives a really fun and bombastic performance.
You call my bathwater dirty girl soup? This is wrong. This is so wrong.
She has really great comedic timing and is an excellent singer, which surprised me because I mainly know of her work on Smosh. And Grace is someone that gets the most death out of the main nerds, and her arc is very compelling. She goes through 3 stages as a character. She starts out as a prude that stitches on her classmates for cheating, but it isn't until Max is accidentally killed that she, as well as Peter and Stephanie, change the way they act, but Grace changes in a way that she gradually digs herself a deeper hole than she was already in, while also slowly going more insane as the musical continues.
You're back! Hey, shit!
Whoa! Grace, put the gun down. You don't want to do anything stupid.
I don't intend to. I'm gonna go to the nearest church and claim sanctuary.
That's not a thing, Grace!
It isn't until she loses her virginity to undead Max in the last moments of the musical where she changes completely, turning into a dirty dude killer, killing sinful men for her gain.
We'll pray for you when your body is gone. This is the consequence for what you've done. Darkness will spare my soul.
By the way, Dirty Dudes Must Die is a really great end song for this musical, and it's very phenomenal. You should check it out. Lauren Lopez and John Matson are really good as Ruth and Richie. They're great bad friend characters that are also hilarious stereotypes. I absolutely hate how accurate the wardrobe for Richie is. Richie barely changes as a character, but I really like that despite starting the musical with police finding his body and his cries for helping her before the main title card, they managed to make him sympathetic enough to where it's genuinely shocking to see him be Max's first kill. And Ruth is a fascinating character to me because she's played like a sleazy but shy nerd, and it isn't until her scene in the theater that we find out she wants to perform on stage, and it's really sad when she finally does. Max comes and kills her, which is an ongoing theme in the musical. I also like how they explain Max coming back. It's not too clunky and fits really well with the overall story that perfectly leads into the third act. And I like that it kind of ups the ante in the third act with the whole Lords of Black scene.
Out of the depths of hell and back, swallow the black and white. Cover our souls with robes of black and take up the arms of night. Nibbling wants his sacrifice and Wiggly wants his wrath. We dance around the pentagram and take all our kingdoms back.
I'm not all familiar with the lore, but from what I've gathered, there are a group of characters from the Nightmare Time series, but that's really all I know. Either way, I love how each one looks and how playful their voices sound when they're saying shit like this.
But why? Maxie Poo's about to get you. Tear you all to bloody bits.
I want to see that.
The Summoning is also a very bombastic song. I love the soft vocals at the beginning and throughout the song, and the variety of colors along with the camera movement is very zany. Can't really speak on cinematography too much as it is a film musical, but I like that they work around it to make it feel more cinematic. Some shots look like they could be in a movie, and I think they succeeded in being immersive despite the limitations. And the soundtrack is just phenomenal. I went into it expecting at least 3 to 5 great songs, but the fact that damn near the entire soundtrack is fantastic shocked the hell out of me. Just to narrow it down so we're not here all day, my top 7 in no order is definitely...
You better leave your hope behind. No one's gonna stop me. Out of sight, or you're doomed to be a victim. You won't defeat kind. Never look in the eye, a predator at my side. Cross your heart, hope to die.
Literal Monster is such a great introduction to Max's character, and not only perfectly describes how the characters see him, but shows and tells us exactly what he's like. The first half of the song ending when Max enters is so good because it allows us to see how he's like towards Richie and nerds in general, before he talks to Grace where we see a subtle shift in his demeanor and the way he acts. There's a really great video that touches on this better by Vil and Melling, where they go through Max's arc in better detail than I can. So I'll leave a link to it in the description, but it intrigues me because he clearly likes her, but because it isn't what he wants her to do, he looks past the fact that she's clearly not into him. And I love that when the song kicks back in, he states how he knows high school is going to be his peak and he's going to make the best of it by ruling. It's a great way of showing that he isn't just a dunce and is fully aware of what he's doing. Will Brenner also just has insane vocals in the latter half of the song, and his physical comedy is top tier.
Dirty girl, won't you sing for me? Won't you love me like you don't care? I won't care about you.
Dirty Girl is such a fantastic duet with Grace and Max. It's structured really well, both Angela and Will are fantastic on the vocals, and I love that their lyrics match the characters. Grace is singing about how she sees Max, which is a closeted Christian, which is very funny. But Max's lyrics are clearly him just wanting to, quote, wanting a little taste of that dirty girl soup. And it's very apparent in the catchy chorus what his intentions are, and I honestly love how unsubtle it is.
Dirty, dirty girl, won't you sing for me? Won't you love me like you don't care?
chorus is also the perfect pace, and the choreography is outstanding, and honestly one of the better set pieces in the musical. I also love that Grace insists that she could mold Max into her fantasy, when in reality, she knows that the real thing is what she really wants. It's a great way of implementing her faith into the song. And the fact that this song is the main motivation for her to prank Max is just a really great way to advance the plot. Definitely check this one out, even if you don't know the musical.
Nerdy Prudes must die! Nerdy Prudes must die! Everybody cool, watch those nerds run for their life.
Nerdy Prudes Must Die is such an excellent villain song for Max. The first couple verses have a funky vibe to it that perfectly matches Max toying with Richie, using telekinesis to push him down, as well as closing the locker room doors, and there's a sense of malicious fun to it all. But it isn't until after the second chorus where we're hit with this godsend of a verse.
I want you to repeat after me.
Okay.
Who will pray for me?
Who will pray for me
When I'm gone,
when I'm gone?
or until another Richie comes along.
Can you repeat that one?
Who will pray for me when I'm gone? Or is this the eternal dark without a dawn? Who will pray for you?
Who will pray for
when
me
your body's gone? This is the consequence for what you've done.
Now, on the first listen, it can obviously be said that the verse feels out of place compared to the rest of the song, but like many people pointed out, it perfectly puts Max's character into perspective without outright telling us. There's a couple theories suggesting that he's singing about Richie going to be forgotten, just like he was in the 2 weeks he was missing, and it's more apparent in Max's last line towards Richie.
Of course not. Richie. But you have lost everything.
It's such a scary line that is perfectly emphasized with the silhouettes of the cast in the background. Richie's death is probably the saddest death because of the implications in the beginning of the musical, and the fact that he had a presumably slow death. I found it very fitting that his first and last interactions were with Max. I also absolutely love the instrumental. It has that funky vibe down, while also really going hard with the piano in the last half. The Hatchet Town motif playing is so eerie, and it feels like such a great nod to Halloween with how catchy and fast-paced it is. It's practically Undead Max's theme at this point, and I'm completely fine with that. And hey, speaking of Hatchet Town,
Hatchet Town. Hands on the hatchet handle, swinging on the youth, it's a hatchet scandal. Careful or your folks will end up a cannibal's plate. It ain't great.
Hatchet Town is a phenomenal group song. I love that it showcases the paranoia between the adults of Hatchetfield while also pointing fingers at one another as to who the killer is. There's great vocal performances all around, as well as great bits of comedy sprinkled around. The chorus is very catchy, and I absolutely love the choreography. It's definitely one of those songs that is just there to be for a bridge between Nerdy Prudes and Just for Once, which is completely fine. But speaking of,
Saturday we installed a new bay window, and it was something right out of a dream I'd ever had.
Just for Once is a phenomenal solo song for Ruth. It's a great way of showing her true wants in her life, and it's such a sad song from start to finish, considering that more exposition for a character means their death is close. Lauren Lopez gets to show off her range here, and it's just incredible to listen to, and I love that it was able to maintain Ruth's quirks. The high note in the climax of the song had my jaw to the floor. I also like that she gets more confident as the song goes on, which unfortunately gets torn down by Undead Max when he belittles her before giving her a death wedgie. It's a song that shouldn't work considering how offbeat the instrumental is, but the vocal performance from Laura as well as the deeper meaning is well executed, and it makes it one of my favorites in the musical.
I bet you call this luck. That's your perspective. I bet this song will suck. It doesn't take a detective. It's as cool as I think I am. It's as cool as I think I am. Whoa, whoa, oh.
I absolutely love Cool As I Think I Am the more I listen to it. It's such a heartwarming and sad song for Peter, and I love that it becomes an important part of the overarching story, specifically this lyric.
If I can finally be cool, I will know that I'm not a loser.
For you will pray when your body's gone. This is the consequence for what
is the consequence for what you've done. Darkness will spare my soul.
Pierre not wanting to be a loser and wanting to be cool for once, but slowly realizes that he can't by the end of the song is a genuinely great character motivation. I love that the motif is used in both Richie and Ruth's deaths, as they are nerds who gain confidence just before Max kills them. Joey Richter also just kills it on the vocals, which surprised me. I also love how this one ends with a fourth wall break where Max comes in as the audience is cheering only to tell him to shut up. It's great.
I never wanted you anyway. I always knew my place and knew my lane. But you had to go and seduce and play a game, but I'm off that train.
If I Loved You is such a great duet with Peter and Stephanie. It's a song that perfectly displays their will they won't they relationship, and it goes through all the positives and negatives acting on their feelings for one another. Joey Richter and Mariah Rose Faith are really great together. I love that their voice pitches match perfectly with each other. Pierre has more of a pop vibe in his vocals, while Stephanie is taking all the low parts, and I like that they match each other in pitch when they harmonize. It's really good. I also like how the song is reprised later on in the musical. It's very depressing and genuinely sad to see them admit their feelings right before Stephanie has to shoot Pierre. After 3 songs about giving no hope for survival, accusing one another of being a killer, and a girl just wanting a chance to be in the spotlight, this song brings back the happier vibes that is smoothly interrupted by Grace. Just as a fun bit, and because I want to talk about this musical a bit more, I kind of want to ponder the idea of a Nerdy Prudes film adaptation. First and foremost, it would have to still be a musical, and would have to retain the absurd humor while dialing down just a little bit. Because I don't think this premise can work as a straight slasher. It would have to retain the humor. Second, in terms of what songs stay in or get left out, I think High School Is Killing Me, Literal Monster, Cool As I Think I Am, and is reprised. Dirty Girl, Bully, and Bury the Bully, Nerdy Prudes Must Die, Just for Once, If I Loved You, and Dirty Dudes Must Die would have to stay. Go Go Nighthawks is a song that could be left out because it's mainly there to be a fill-in section as to what happened in the 2 weeks Max went missing for. It's something that could be filled in with dialogue and leaves room for extra development for someone like Richie. And as much as I really love Hatchetown on its own, it feels more like a bridge between 2 big songs and wouldn't quite flow well with the plot in film form. I also don't think that despite it being a film, it shouldn't really change the way the deaths are presented. Max doesn't really need enhancements as his death is already brutal. Only thing they could do is maybe add a little more blood, but otherwise his death is great as is. Richie's death is perfect and effective the way it is, and doesn't necessarily need gore in order to make it brutal or be on screen for that matter. It's a great example of leaving it for the audience to ponder what exactly happened to him. Bruce, I feel like, could just add blood and showcase Undead Max's ridiculous strength by seriously splitting her in half via wedgie. The mayor, despite being off screen, works because it's fairly obvious how he dies and the sound effect would be good enough. Undead Max's death would definitely benefit from being on screen, and it would be cool if they had him explode. Add that last bit of gore on top of his Third, I think this would really benefit from practical effects. The mayor describes Undead Max as an unstoppable ghost that can literally do anything to kill people and end the world. And I think the effects would really enhance his presence without turning him into a big CGI monster and still retain his characteristics. There's a really well-made animatic made by Megan Lloyd on Twitter that really emphasizes what I would like to see in a film adaptation.
Who will pray for me when I'm gone? Or is it the eternal dark without a dawn? Who will pray for you when your body's gone? This is the consequence for what you've done. What did you say?
Undead Max looks sick and is such a terrifying looking being, but it still keeps characteristics and quirks just with a little more cinematic flair. My fourth and final thing, and it's one that'll definitely make or break the adaptation, and that is the cast. I've said already that the cast behind the show all did a phenomenal job, and quite frankly, it'd be hard for anyone to come in and try to fill their shoes, when they just can't for some characters. Will Branner, Angela Giarratana, Joey Ritter, John Matson, Mariah Rose Faith, and Lauren Lopez leave such an outstanding impact on their characters that it'd be downright impossible to just cast other people for a film adaptation. So I'm not going to do it, but if they really want to get it right, they have to let Starkid choose who they want to play their character. And to be honest, I have a feeling this video is running long. I don't want to blow it by fan casting. To say I enjoyed Nerdy Prudes Must Die is a bit of an understatement. I went into it knowing almost nothing about Starkid and was really worried I was just going to be bland with a couple good songs that I could add to my playlist. But coming out of it, I found myself enthralled with the batshit insane story and relating a lot to the main cast of nerds, along with vibing to almost every song on the soundtrack. It genuinely boggles my mind just how good the soundtrack is, and as someone who loves great music incorporated into pieces of media, each song is placed perfectly and has a purpose to be there. The fact that it's riddled with motifs and callbacks shows that these people trust their audience to hold on to certain information, while also being able to pull a few surprises along the way. I'm glad I finally sat down and watched this musical because it really did open up a new perspective for me in terms of musical theater. Before I ever got into films, theater was something that interested me before I ultimately decided that computers was the way to go, mainly because I felt like the theater class I was taking in high school wasn't for me despite being really good at it. And even then, I always had a weird stigma towards musicals. I thought that all they were was to just make a soundtrack with a bare bones plot, and while some definitely do that, it wasn't until I saw the film adaptation of Wicked and Nerdy Prudes that I realized, man, do I love musicals? It's a medium that I'm not too familiar with, but I'm more than happy to watch more of just because of how fucking good this one was. I won't genuinely set out for the rest of 2025 to find another musical that gets me as passionate as this one did in terms of making videos. Feel free to give me any recommendations, because I'll gladly take them. But for right now, just to wrap up, I'm going to give Nerdy Prudes Must Die a very genuine 10 out of 10. A damn good first impression of Starkid.
Hold up! Hold up! Hold up!